They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the Warriors Hoopcast. I'm your host CNK, and let's dive right into it. Now, I haven't broken down the last two Warriors games, so let's start off with that. Then I'll get to all the trade deadline madness that has happened over the past 12 hours, 18 hours, I don't know. Yeah, so let's break down the Jazz game. We basically took a whooping in it. The past few of our games have had the same monotonous narrative. We get out rebounded and we can't make shots. Udoka Azubuike. No one has heard of him probably, and he was looking like a force to be reckoned with. Hassan Whiteside channeled his inner Wilt Chamberlain somehow, and he got 8 blocks. Or did he? Not all of them were true blocks because we had terrible shot selection at the rim, and Jordan Poole got blocked, I think, thrice by him. So he was hesitating too much. So it's either drive in right into Hassan Whiteside and get blocked, or get open near the free throw line for his floater, but delay it enough. And Hassan Whiteside is long; he can block your shot from a mile away. After surviving a pretty big Warriors tempest in the first quarter, the Jazz started and continued to whoop our behinds. Mitchell and Bogdanovich hit timely shots. Trent Forrest was huge off the bench. And it didn't help that we had our worst offensive outing in the season. We shot 35.9% from the field. We couldn't score more than 20 points in any of the second, third, or fourth quarters. When was the last time that happened? Surprisingly, we shot 37% from three, which is better than what we shot from two. That's terrible. Steph was 5 of 13 with a lot of on ball turnovers. Jordan Poole was 5 of 14. Wiggins was 5 of 11. And I do not understand why Clay was rested this game and not the Knicks one, which I'll get into next. Yeah, so we got out rebounded by 17 rebounds. And that's how many Hassan Whiteside had for the whole game. The Jazz had 11 offensive rebounds to our miserable 3. The Jazz planned to strike us in our Achilles heel, basically, which is the lack of size. And this had much success. Only one player in our whole roster had a positive plus minus, and that was Otto Porter Jr. But this is nothing to panic about. A 30-point beatdown in February is okay. It sounds bad, but it's okay. We're 41 and 15, and we are pretty much locked in as the second seed. To the bare eye, all we need is a big. There's rumblings across Twitter about signing Robin Lopez in the buyouts, and the dude even replied to a tweet of someone asking him to join the Bay. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. But the thing is, we can't be sacrificing wing depth for some presence at the center. Now, Bielitsa has been nightmarish for the last month or so, but he has his own role on this team, and we can't be sacrificing that. It's only a short stretch where he's played bad. So yeah, that's about the Jazz game. Let's get into the next one. I don't have the energy to talk about this. This one was closer at least, but the same result and the same message sent. We need bigs. Every 6'8 plus player with some offensive game is bound to look like an all-star against a Draymond-less Warriors. Julius Randle absolutely bullied us with 28, 16, and 7, and spoiled a pretty decent 35-point outing for Steph Curry. We were out-rebounded 51 to 38. You can realize how bad that is. We had 5 offensive rebounds, and they had 16. Yeah, our miseries are very clear to the most casual of fan. Evan Fournier made some timely shots. The officiating in this game was questionable, lopsided, however you want to put it. 24 calls on the Warriors and 18 on the Knicks. But the real divide we see is in the free throw numbers. 17 free throw attempts for us and 33 for the Knicks. That's almost twice. The Knicks sank 24 of those and we sank 15. That's a 9-point margin, which is a lot. There may not have been officiating involved, but yeah, you can see the free throw divide right here. Steve Kerr also picked up a very unnecessary technical, which gave the Knicks a free point. It was the end of a close game, Steve. You can't afford to pick up technicals like that. He agreed post game that it was his mistake, and he can't be doing that in the end of close games. Clay did get a very wide open look from the free throw line at the end of the game, but unfortunately he couldn't convert it. He faked out Evan Fournier. He had the whole rim on his eye, but luck wasn't enough on our side today. We had the best look we could have asked for, and maybe the best shooter that we could have asked for as well. Yeah, unfortunately, unlike the refs, luck was against us tonight. Even Steph had a chance to tie it, but his layup, after what felt like an expanded 2 seconds, after touching every part of the ring, decided to trickle out. Whole lot of unluckiness and not a whole lot of rebounding. Playboy Carti shout out. But a positive from this game is Jonathan Kuminga. Yes, guys, let's focus on the positive. He played 36 minutes this game, shot 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from the 3 point line, and 5 of 6 from the free throw line, including two very clutch free throws that he splashed. That's solid improvement. If Kuminga develops a league average jumper and a league average free throw, okay, no, an above league average free throw, he's good. He instantly becomes a better force. He continues to grow in such games. On the defensive end, he had a lot of success guarding Julius Randle. I couldn't find the stats, but I'll try and tell you in the next episode. I'm very excited for Kuminga, man. This is just the third time we've lost two straight. No need to worry, however. But the All Star break couldn't come any sooner for the Warriors. So that's the two games that happened. Now, let's get to the juice, the trade deadline madness. And let's jump into the big fish here, the James Harden trade. So if you haven't seen it already, which I bet you have, but I'll say it out anyways, Brooklyn gets Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and two first round picks. And Philadelphia is getting James Harden and Paul Millsap. First of all, I want to laud Daryl Morey for his insane work here because he was supposed to compromise for Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes. Now we can go out and say, huh? You wanted me to get them? Here, look, I got James Harden. Daryl Morey always wanted a top 25 player for Ben Simmons, which we all thought was madness, but he somehow pulled it off. Another plus for the Sixers, they didn't give up Thibault or Maxey, who are very, very key aspects to their playoff run if it happens. He gave up two picks. That's the kind of thing to do to get rid of a player's contract, according to Zach Lowe. Here, player may be Tobias Harris. Will this happen? Let's find out. The Brooklyn Nets get a defensive stopper in Simmons and a very solid big in Drummond. Personally, I think this trade works out for both teams. Philly now shares the win now aspect with Brooklyn after such a massive trade. Oh, yeah, mark your calendars. March 10th is Brooklyn versus Philadelphia. It's going to be a banger. Tell me who you got. You're free to DM it to me, and I'll give you the Instagram account at the end of this podcast. Here's the thing about James Harden. He forced his way out of Oklahoma. Thumbs up on that. Good move. Helped his career. He forced Dwight Howard away from the Rockets, won an MVP, got Chris Paul, got a 65 win season, could not win a chip. Granted, Chris Paul got injured, but fact of facts, he couldn't win a chip. He forced Chris Paul out, got in Russell Westbrook, and absolutely faltered against the Lakers in the bubble. Forced his own way out of Houston by looking like a grotesque, obese old man with a beer belly. The most into Brooklyn, which is the most favorable situation anyone could ask for. Played 16 games with the Big Three, RIP, the most what if team in basketball history. He made the playoffs and he got bounced by the Bucks again. Granted, Kyrie was injured and Brooklyn was blowing out Milwaukee in the first two games with just Kyrie and KD. But again, facts are facts. Played a bit more in Brooklyn and now has forced his way out of Brooklyn. Here's the question. Who is the real drama queen in this trade? Is it Simmons or Harden? Something to think about. Harden's playoff performance critiques is as fair as it gets. He's had three 2 of 11 outings, and his playoff resume is full of lapses. He has performed below his standard in the playoffs more than possibly any other player in NBA history. The time is now for Harden. His legacy is at question. If he doesn't win anything now, I don't know how Daryl Morey will feel about paying him 50 mil in a year in the future. Here are some questions to be asked. What does James Harden do when Embiid is posting up? Philly runs a lot of plays with Embiid posting up, and he's unstoppable there. Get to the left side of the free throw line, post up, midi pull up, cash, always cash. What can he do? He can run through screens or he can stay away from the ring. But yeah, that's a new role for James Harden now. When he had Clint Capella, he could throw lobs, and Joel Embiid ain't catching no lobs. He's gonna work alone. The second thing that you could ask, what pace does Philly play in? Brooklyn was ranked 10th on the pace leaderboard and Philly was 28th. So there's a stark difference in the speed of play. The third question you could ask, teams will put Embiid and Harden in pick and rolls and see how they respond. Harden is a switch guy and the Sixers don't switch at all. What happens here? There are many questions like this. Now, let's talk about Simmons in Brooklyn. The main question is when do we see Simmons play? Now, there's not much scoring load on him because there's KD and Kyrie. He tremendously helps out on defense and rebounding. But again, what is Kyrie's availability? Ben can't play alone with no offense at all. Durant and Irving have to be there when Ben starts. And Kyrie hasn't been offered the extension yet. But again, Brooklyn has one hell of a lineup. The closing lineup of Irving, Durant, Seth Curry, Ben Simmons, and LaMarcus Aldridge sounds hellish to guard. But so does Philly now with the starting or finishing lineup of Embiid, Tobias Harris, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and Danny Green. Sounds like a nightmare to guard in any playoff game. So yeah, a lot of questions. They all need answers, and I hope we get to see them soon. Let's get to the other weird trade that happened, really. Dallas sent Porzingis to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Spencer Dinwiddie, who has been terrible this season, and Davis Bertans, who is so bad this season that he barely sees any minutes on a bad Wizards team. This trade is a result of Dallas giving away Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, and picks, for which they got Kristaps back, and now it has turned into a bad Spencer Dinwiddie and a worse Davis Bertans. Yeah, that's something to think about again. Bertans can feast off of Luka's passes. Luka's probably the second best passer in the league, second to Nikola Jokic, of course. But I'd hate to see Dinwiddie get the share of ball handling responsibilities which belong to Jalen Brunson, because Brunson has been amazing this year. For the Wizards, this is just a low cost experiment. But for the Mavs, why? Did you have to do this just to get rid of the Porzingis business? Couldn't you have gotten anyone better? Y'all must know Tim Legler on ESPN, right? You may not know that he was a terrific three-point shooter and has won the three-point contest too. Here's what he described Porzingis as after the trade. He said, and I quote, "He's a unicorn because of his very unique skill set. But he's also a unicorn because you barely see him. Did you have any idea he could dunk on people like that?" I mean, Tim Legler. Did you have any idea he brought the smoke like that? I've never seen Tim Legler bring the smoke. And wow, I'm surprised. Let's talk about another trade. This one I don't really have any opinions about, so I'll just say it out loud. It was a large four-team trade, which I think worked out for everyone involved in it. That's pretty rare. So the Kings are getting Dante DiVincenzo, Trey Lyles, Josh Jackson. The Bucks are getting Serge Ibaka, or hopefully a shell of himself, and 2 second round picks and cash. The Clippers are getting Rodney Hood and Semi Ojeleye, and the Pistons are getting his trivia. Who was the one guy chosen before Luka Doncic? One, two, three. Any guesses? Anybody? It was Marvin Bagley. Most people forget about him. So yeah, the Pistons are getting Marvin Bagley the third. As far as Serge is like 90% of himself, the Milwaukee Bucks have added an amazing defender to the team, which will work out for them. Many other trades have happened, but I don't want to get into it now because then the episode would be too long. So, if you guys have made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Like the podcast on Spotify, share it with your friends, share it on your Instagram stories, subscribe. And yeah, you can follow at Warriors Hoopcast on Instagram. I try to update you guys with the news across the league, the trades that happened. Yeah, all that's over there. The link to my podcast is over there. So yeah, make sure to support me by following that page. That's it for today's episode, guys. Catch you on the next one. Get out of here.